All right, today we're diving into a short, but man, is it a powerful poem. It absolutely nails that feeling of just complete and utter exhaustion. We're going to get right inside the head of a teacher who is at the absolute end of his rope. The poem, it's D.H. Lawrence's Last Lesson of the Afternoon.
And look, the poem doesn't ease you in at all. It just throws you right into the deep end with its very first line. There's no preamble, no slow build-up, just this raw, desperate plea for it all to be over. You can just feel it, right? That sense of being completely, totally spent.
And here's what's so wild. This was written over 100 years ago, but that feeling, that burnout, it feels incredibly modern, doesn't it? It's something I think a lot of us can relate to. So you have to ask, where did this incredibly raw feeling of despair actually come from for the author?
Well, to really get why this poem hits so hard, you've got to understand the man behind the words, D.H. Lawrence himself.
See, the thing about Lawrence is he wasn't just some poet writing about a topic he found interesting. No, this was personal. He was the son of a schoolteacher, and he actually trained and worked as a teacher himself. So this poem, it's not some abstract thought experiment. It's pulled directly from his own experience, and that's what gives it that raw, almost painfully authentic edge.
So the big question is, how does Lawrence do it? How does he take this very personal feeling of despair and make it something we can almost touch and feel? Well, he uses a poet's toolkit. Let's break down the literary devices he uses to build this really suffocating atmosphere.
Okay, first tool on the box, metaphor. You know, that's when a writer says one thing is another thing to paint a really powerful picture in your mind. And Lawrence uses a killer one right away.
That's it. That's how he sees his students, not as kids, not as pupils waiting to learn, but as a pack of wild, untamed animals.
You can just feel the complete loss of control in that one line. He's not a teacher anymore, guiding eager minds. He's more like a frustrated hunter who can't get his dogs to even pick up a scent. It perfectly, absolutely perfectly, captures his sense of total and utter futility.
All right, next up, Lawrence pulls out a simile. That's a comparison using like or as. And the one he uses to describe himself, oh man, it's just devastating.
He doesn't just say he's tired. No, he feels lifeless. He's drained of all energy, all color, all vitality. Just like that dead leaf he mentioned earlier, just lying there on the wet ground. He's basically saying his own spirit is decayed. It's over.
But you know, as powerful as those images are, the real gut punch of the poem, the moment of true psychological breakdown, it's built using the simplest tool of all, repetition. And this is where we see the teacher's mind just begin to crack.
He just lands on this one single phrase. It's a declaration, it's a refusal, it is the sound of absolute defeat.
And get this, he says that line 12 times. Not 2 or 3 times for a little emphasis, no, 12. He dedicates an entire stanza to just that one single thought. And that just shows you everything you need to know about his mental state, right? It's not a logical argument anymore. It's become a chant, like a mantra of pure despair. It's like he's building a wall around himself with these words, brick by brick, just refusing to engage anymore because he literally has nothing left in the tank.
Okay, so we've seen the tools in his kit. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the huge ideas that these tools are building. Because this poem, it's about way more than just one teacher having a really bad day.
I mean, it really weaves together all these big, universal themes. You've got this deep disillusionment with his life's work, the utter futility he feels trying to pour knowledge into what feels like an empty void, that crushing sense of isolation, even though he's in a room full of people, and of course, that overwhelming desire to just break free and escape.
But the central conflict, the real heart of his despair, it all comes to a head in that final stanza. This is where he really lays bare the massive, uncrossable chasm he feels exists between him and his students.
Think about it. On one side, you have the teacher. Here's a guy who has lived. He's known joy and sorrow. He's wrestled with the meaning of life, the secret of death, all of it. And on the other side, the students, who he sees as this indifferent, unresponsive pack. He feels like all this wisdom he's fought so hard to gain is just being thrown away. It's completely wasted on them.
So why? Why does this poem, from a guy writing over a century ago, still feel so incredibly relevant? Let's bring it right into our world today.
It's because what Lawrence is describing is something we all know, or at least have a name for now.
professional burnout. I mean, think about our always-on culture, where you're just expected to have this endless well of passion. This poem captures that feeling perfectly. It's that bone-deep emotional exhaustion you get from pouring every ounce of your energy into something only to be met with a wall of nothing, of apathy. It's really the cry of anyone who's ever felt like their work is just completely pointless and unappreciated.
And that question he keeps asking in that final stanza, that's the heart of the entire poem. It's the sound of a passion literally dying out. It's that awful moment when someone starts to question the entire point of what they're doing because it feels totally disconnected from the very people it's supposed to help.
And really, that leaves us with the poem's biggest question, one that's just as real today as it was back then. What is the cost of passion when it just slams into a wall of indifference? What happens to our drive, to our knowledge, to our very spirit when it's met with a void? D.H. Lawrence's answer? Well, it's pretty bleak. And maybe it's meant to be a powerful warning about the very real human cost of work that goes completely unappreciated.